Hi ladies! Thank you for joining me with this Bible journaling with watercolor in process cactus fun. Before we get going, I want to talk to you a little bit about the supplies I'll be using and kind of my general frame of reference for this piece that I'm going to show you guys. So if you see to the left here that I've actually already done it, and so I'm kind of going to copy it. It's got some salt on it, if you can see. It was really fun, so I basically just want to do it again and show you. So I use a pencil and micron pens that you can see a lot, and they're different sizes to help give me different effects with the cactus. And then I use my go-to watercolor palette, Pelican. It's the one I sell on my website. I love that palette. And then I always have like water, of course, it's watercolor. You always need to have paper towel. I'll be using salt, like I said, not fine grain salt, like a coarser salt works better. So and then I have the paper behind my page before I start drawing at all. And then drawing these cactus is not challenging. They're just kind of like a wonky shape and they don't need to be perfect. So I'm using my previous one as like a frame of reference, and they're really easy to draw. And so then I go through and I kind of fill in the lines. You know how cactuses like have that wavy bent to them? And so I'll begin doing that shortly, but I'm also just throwing in some flowers. They're not fancy flowers, they're not difficult. They just have like 4 larger points and then some petals. Yeah, they're called petals. In between, none of this is like a difficult drawing. And so I'm putting a cute little flat flowers on top of the cactus because they look adorable and they help, I know, like from the big picture, it'll help contrast. And so here I go filling in the lines of the cactus, which is, you have to be a little bit careful on the taller one and kind of play with the lines in the arm of the tall one. But just think about when you look at a real cactus, kind of copy its grooves. And so you can always look up a real picture of a cactus to help you. And so we're good to go. I'm gonna get my water ready, put my little palette there. I love this palette. And I moved my reference picture up a little higher. So I get my paints wet, and I mix it in my well, and I just start filling in these cactuses, or cacti, whatever you want to call them. And you know what's funny? This is one of the first times I decided to go big and bold with my color and my lines. And so this page is not prepped. I did not prep it, but I used heavy water and heavy color. I mean, if you look all the way to the left, look at that cactus. There's puddled water on it. And so when I go back through on the tall one, that's like pure paint. I don't mix it very much. I don't water it down. And I was a little nervous about it. I mean, I understand you guys being nervous about using heavy paint on your pages, but I mean, you guys saw at the very beginning the finished piece. It looked so good. So if you're sitting there and you're like, wow, she's like dabbing the brush right in the color and then putting it on the page. Like, if that makes you nervous, I want to encourage you to go for it. And so right there you can see I've got this dark line all the way to the left on all of the cactus parts because it's like a shadow. And so before I come in to do like any kind of backdrop, I know I have to dry my cactus, otherwise it'll bleed all together. So if you're doing like a 2-part like sky and cactus, make sure your cactus, the first thing you do, dries before you start in with the second, otherwise your colors will bleed into each other. So I made sure it's nice and dry, and then I'm mixing together some paint for the sky. And when you're like, I knew I was going to get super close to the edge towards the middle of the Bible, so I made sure to pull my page really nice and tightly. And so I'm just adding water and some blue, vibrant blue as I go along, and just giving it this ombre shade that I like. It's not much of a rhyme or reason, but it is an ombre, like dark to light, top to bottom. And I'm adding some salt because it gives it some awesome texture. And side note about the salt, guys. If you use salt and you don't use it at the very end, if you use salt and you mix it right into your paints, like the salt stays in your paints and it gives you texture throughout. And so anyways, that's just a side note about salt. Be careful with it. Now I know this jumped right to the lettering already being done, and I apologize for that. The lettering clip got deleted and I can't find it. But this is more about the watercolor. So anyways, you can see that it's all dried, and after all that had dried, I went in and did the cute little flowers, and they were super blobby, nothing fancy. Most of this is blobby. And so then I dried those, and then I started lettering. And so I did a micron pen with the lettering, and now I'm highlighting it with a white pen, white Jelly Roll pen. And it was so fun to do. And so I hope this encourages you guys to get bold with your watercolor lines and try something new. And start with these fun cactus because I really enjoyed them. Thanks for joining me.